欢迎大家来到 Solomons， 我们来看看我们的理财顾问 Daniel 是如何帮有钱人投资股票的吧。走 ，Daniel 你好。Hey Daniel，
Hey.
你可以给我们揭秘一下有钱人是如何买股票的吗？
Yes, of course. Why don't you come over? So Alan, have you heard of a structured note?
结构性产品是什么？
Do you want to have a look?
可以啊，给我看看啊。有点难，你可以简单给我们介绍一下吗？
Yeah. So Alan, it's probably easier if we just start with some of the examples and maybe some of the key terms that we'll be using to explain and give a simple way to understand how this investment works. Okay.
Okay.
So the example that I have for you today is a fixed coupon structured note. So as you can see here, the terms that we're looking at are the knock-ins, the early maturities, the type. So in this scenario, it's a memory order call feature. The time frame will be 24 months or 2 years. The observation day happens every quarter, so that's when we get our coupon as well. And the frequency will be paying it quarterly, and this one is in Australian dollars, okay?
Yep.
The one that you might not be familiar with is called the knock-in. Do you know what that means?
那是什么东西？
Yeah. So knock-in really means how much is the share price allowed to fall from where we started at. Sometimes it's 35, sometimes it's 40, 45 or 50. For this one, it's 40, but that can be changed and, that's really up to each trade as well, okay? Now, it's probably important to note as well, this investment is an example. The actual, coupon, for example, could be higher, it could be lower. In the actual market today, this would pay a lot more than just 10.2%. But to make it simple, that's what we're saying it is paying today.
所以会比我们给的这个会比较多。
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're looking at Nvidia, we're looking at Oracle, we're looking at Microsoft and Meta. Are you familiar with these stocks?
我之前有投过他们的股票，但是对他们还是蛮熟悉的。
Yeah. I mean, they're some of the largest in the world. Even Oracle has, significantly since where it used to be. But from today's prices, we're looking at about $175 for Nvidia, $234 for Oracle. Microsoft is about $509, and Meta is at $751. Okay. So that's the initial price or the issue price that we spoke about earlier as well. And that's where we're capturing our starting prices. Yep. So from here, that's where the knock-in is calculated, which is 60% of the initial price. So Nvidia would be 105, Oracle would be 140, Microsoft would be 305, and Meta would be $450, right? So it just means how much are they allowed to underperform in the market.
Okay.
Right? Any questions so far?
目前没有。
Okay. So if we keep having a look, this is the first scenario. So this is a common scenario, I would say, where it's having an early maturity. So what that means is that the market has done well. It's continued to go upwards. Okay. But, as we spoke about with the shares, it can have an up and down sort of motion, but it only has an early maturity event from the 6-month onwards mark. So in the first quarter, with $100,000 as an investment, we received $2,550 in our first coupon. So 3 months later, we made that much.
Okay.
In the second month or the 6th month, we've made another $2,550.
Okay.
And because it wasn't above where we initially started, it means that it hasn't had an early maturity. Okay.
Okay.
So as you can see, we make another coupon on the third quarter, or 9 months in, and at the 1 year mark, we're above where we started, right? So not only do we get our $2,550 back, but we also receive the initial $100,000 that we put in. So we get $102,550 on our final 1 year mark.
Okay.
And the investment is also matured. So in total, we've made $112,000. Right? So that's $12,000 in profit and $100,000 of your initial capital back.
这蛮不错的一个投资项目。
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So as you can see, right, with the final 1 year mark and the fourth quarter coupon payment, we'll get back $110,200.
Okay.
So that's the annual 10.2% return.
这么好。
Now, after this investment, because you've had all of your funds back, you can look at another investment. We could also reconsider how the market is performing.
Okay.
If the market goes against us or we're not as confident in this space, we might pick a different investment. But, At the end of the day, you've made your return and you haven't had a chance to lose any capital.
OK，
Now, if we look at the second slide, this is an example of what happens when the market isn't so performing so well, right? So, as you can see, similar to the first year, we still made our coupons, right? But at the very end, it didn't fall below 40%. So every quarter, we're still earning our $2,500 or $10,200 in return every year. It's been the full 2-year duration. In total, we would make 20.40%.
这么好吗？
Yeah. So now the key really important part, right, is that we haven't fallen below 40%. So what happens here? So in a standard share market scenario, right, we would still be recovered. Like we will still have to go back to where our initial price was when we first made the investment, right?
Yeah.
Well, here, in this scenario, it's BNP. BNP will actually return the full 100%, which is $100,000. So let's say that that's underperformed by 35%. If we had a $100,000 investment, we would have lost 35,000.
OK，
Well, here, we'll get back the 100% that we put in, plus the coupon that we've made in total. So we'll make 120.4%.
OK，
Do you like the sound of that?
那真的这投资还是蛮不错的。
Yeah. And I'll be realistic as well. There are some scenarios where you don't have a very positive outcome. Look, the idea behind this is that most trades should be able to recover and be able to be resilient through these significant underperforming market conditions. Sometimes we do have scenarios where it has breached, but thankfully it doesn't happen very often. Okay. But I still want to show what happens when something does happen, right? And the idea behind why we use 40, for example, is that it's meant to sort of compensate and, for a market to fall by 40% over an extended period of time and not recover, it's quite unlikely, but it can happen. But
是会发生的。
yeah, so even during things like, civil wars, other wars, it could be the COVID pandemic, it could be the global financial crisis, it could be any sort of significant market, Black Friday or Black Swan event. We have found that on average, a 40% range to be able to underperform by should get you through most of the scenarios, but sometimes we aren't so lucky, right? Now, if we think about dividends, for example, right, the dividends may not be continued to be paid when the share prices fall by too much, right? Because there may not be additional profit to pay out. In a fixed income situation and a fixed coupon one like this, we're still going to be making an actual rate of return on the initial capital we put in, not on what it's worth today.
OK，
Right? And that's why it's quite strong. Of course, it's not great to have a loss, but if it does happen, you sort of know that you're still covering some of your actual capital loss scenarios. So, very similar to the one that we just looked at, where it went the full 2-year duration.
Yeah.
But because we actually breached that 40% barrier mark, and in this scenario it's down by 45%, there's an initial $45,000 loss that we get, right? So from $100,000, we'll get $55,000 back, but it's been invested for the 2-year duration, right? So we've made $20,400. So instead of it being a full $45,000 loss, you'll lose $24,600 in total.
所以是你那些利息还是会有收到的。
That's right.
OK，
Look, this isn't something that we expect to happen often, but if it does, there is a way that you're at least recovering from your full amount, right? It is probably important to mention as well, you actually can sell this at any given time, okay? So it is still tradable. You can exit your position earlier. You might lose something, but you might feel that it's not going to improve. So you do have flexibility in when and where you decide to exit your investment. Some people choose to take on that longer exposure and see if it will recover. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. But you as a client always have that sort of choice in when you choose to exit as well.
OK，
Okay. Well, do you have any other questions?
目前是没有。
Okay. And do you feel like you sort of understand a little bit better about how rich people invest?
这个是肯定的，是跟你学了蛮多这个结构性产品的事。
本视频内容仅供2001年公司法下批发或专业投资者观看，公众及零售客户请勿观看或依赖。 根据相关规定，如您希望被认定为批发投资者，需一位合格资格会计师出具证明，确认您拥有不少250万澳元净资产，或过去2个财年中每年税前收入不少于25万澳元。本视频内容不包含面向零售客户所需的消费者保护措施或披露文件。若您不符合批发投资者标准，请勿依赖相关信息做出投资决策。如需了解有关批发投资者资格的更多信息，请访问澳大利亚证券及投资委员会 ASIC 官方网站 asic.gov.au。